Ever wanted to know about Israel's occupation of Palestine but were afraid to ask? Its occupation of the West Bank has been at the centre of a major case in the International Court of Justice. So here's a quick breakdown of what that occupation is and how it works. In this video, we're focusing on the West Bank. Israel's occupation of Palestinian territory, the occupation, might sound like a simple concept, but it's actually a project that involves systematic levels of laws and exclusions to maintain control over most aspects of Palestinian life on Palestinian land. Oh, and the military. So, how did Israel come to occupy the West Bank? In 1967, Israel's Arab neighbours tried to take back land it had seized in the Nakba in 1948. It backfired, and in a war lasting just 6 days, Israeli forces took over Gaza, the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Palestinians now need Israeli permission to move between any of these places. Walls also separate them. The occupied West Bank is the largest chunk of territory seized by Israel, and in 1995, the Oslo Accords divided it into 3 sections: Area A, B, and C. But as we'll see, these days that means little more than lines on a map. In reality, Israel implements different levels of occupation and control over the lot. For example, Area A, which includes places like Jenin and Bethlehem, accounts for 18% of the West Bank and is under Palestinian control. This is the only area in the entire West Bank where Palestinians can build houses without Israeli approval. And that means it's densely populated as Palestinians are driven out of other parts of the territory. And even though it's under Palestinian civil control, Israeli forces carry out almost daily raids, sniper attacks, and routinely enter to demolish Palestinian homes, businesses, and roads. Then there's Area B, which is 22% of the West Bank. Israel and Palestine are supposed to share control. But again, that's not the case. Israel's military authority is in charge, and under its protection, more and more settlers are seizing and occupying Palestinian homes and farms. Observers say Israel has effectively annexed the area. Finally, the remaining 60% of the West Bank, known as Area C, is under full Israeli control. This is where it's built most of its illegal settlements. There are more than 290 settlements here, with 700,000 settlers living in them. Israel's reserved more than 60% of Area C for its own use, not just for settlements, but for military land and so-called nature reserves, reducing even further the amount of land Palestinians can live on. Here, Palestinians need Israeli permission for just about everything, from building homes, running electricity lines, to drilling wells. Permission is seldom given, and observers say that's the point. Israel's trying to make life so impossible for Palestinians through most of the occupied West Bank, they have no choice but to move to the already densely populated Area A. For example, only 36% of West Bank Palestinians have running water, compared to 100% of Israelis, including those living in illegal West Bank settlements. Israel won't connect Palestinian communities to the water grid. Israel also uses money to control life under occupation. It collects taxes on behalf of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, but it regularly withholds the payments, making it difficult for the PA to pay civil servants. Palestinian traders use the Israeli shekel, and any dealings must go through Israeli banks. Israel also controls all the checkpoints and borders, which means it controls Palestinian trade too. Israel's control over occupied Palestine's economy means it's almost entirely dependent on Israel for survival. Of the many hardships in the West Bank, the unifying theme is Israeli occupation. Israel occupies 80% of the West Bank and in effect controls the remaining 20%. And although this land is supposed to make up the bulk of a future Palestinian state, Israeli leaders say they have no intention of handing it back.